something we all need. Gotta have it now if you wanna succeed. Striving, surviving, that's no doubt. Sticking together, we gon' find a way out. So all you young people, give it your all. So all you young people, give it your all. So all you young people, give it your all. So all you young people, give it your all.
Good evening, the back community. Season 4 has started. We are back again, staying involved, staying engaged. The theme for our new season is going to be Dream Bigger. And guys, I have so many guests that's going to be coming on this platform this year, ranging from out of the country to in the country, and highlighting some positive individuals and organizations. And thank you for staying along with us for the last 3 seasons. And I guarantee you what we have in store for you in season 4 should surpass anything that we've done previously. But now that I got that out of the way, we do have our first guest for season 4, and I just want to go ahead and give a rough background of how I met tonight's guest. So I was up in Reading, Pennsylvania. I want to say maybe 2 or 3 months ago, if that. And I was at an event. Shout out to my boy JD, the global connector. But I was up there, and I told him I would come up from DC to support his Bosses and Brunch event. And then my brother-in-law also had a 360 photo booth set up in the back. So it gave me the opportunity to interact with everybody, because everybody always navigates, finds their way to the 360 booths. So that was where I got a chance to see tonight's guest in full action. She was actually helping to coordinate that entire event to make sure that everyone was involved where they needed to be, and everything was organized and situated and straight. And I got a chance to watch her work the room, and I'm a networker. So what I ended up doing was I followed her, and I got a chance to see what else that she's doing in her own space, and she's killing it. So without further ado, I want to formally introduce tonight's guest, and that is Miss Queenella Gibson out in Newark, New Jersey. And she does a variety of different things, from real estate, and I really want to talk about her singing career as well. So first things first, sorry for the long-winded introduction. Queen, thank you for being on the back community. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for this interview, for this session.
So let me see. My first formal question that I always hit everyone with is the opportunity for you to tell the back community a little bit more about yourself, right? Like I said, I've gotten a chance to become a fan of your work. I love seeing you curate your networking events. I love how you always are empowering other people that they can be in this space too, and to take full advantage of the moment. But my first question for you, Queen Gibson, is well, who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do? Here's your opportunity to tell the back community about you.
Okay, who I am. Who am I? I am a mother. I am a licensed realtor in New Jersey. I am an author of a book, I Belong Here. And I am a voice for the voiceless. I hate to say I'm a motivational speaker. I'd rather say I'm a voice for the voiceless, because the things that I touch on are things that most wouldn't speak about. I focus more on the needs of people. Where there's a need, that's where I go. So there was a need for events that you would find resources, you would find tools, principles, like-minded people. And I needed that to happen in my industry of real estate. I felt that we were deprived of it. I felt most of the events that I attended as a realtor, I find myself drunk in the end. Because mainly what we did was, we did fellowship. We did, we were amongst a group of people like-minded people, but we did a lot of drinking, partying, right? And that's how we built rapport. But I said it would be amazing if we could be in the same room with like-minded people and actually there be an exchange of resources, an exchange of tools and systems that we use, and that be the conversation that is being had in the rooms that we're in. It would be nice to see people on platforms or bigger platforms that we admire on our stages, right?
Absolutely.
So I felt like, cities like, where I am, being from Newark, New Jersey, Reading, PA needs that. Not just New York. I shouldn't have to travel to New York, Atlanta, Texas, and Florida, or even California for these type of events. Why not have it here at home? So I saw that need, and that's how I became an event coordinator by default. It wasn't it wasn't like a goal that I had. So yeah, where I'm from Newark, New Jersey, and it's a city now that is people are respecting because of the mayor, the many things that he has done in the community, made a strong impact and has put great leaders in position to support the things that he's been doing. And then the city has voted on many city officials that support him as well. That's just my observation of what is happening in the community. And again, to see what they do in the city of Newark is like, okay, how can I implement that in my business, right? So I realized when you have a vision or a focus, an idea, the best way to execute that idea is to get others to believe in it as well. You have to do a really good job at doing that. And people will then flock to you. Like they will be attracted to not so much you, but they will be attracted to the idea if you leave the door open for them to also be creative.
Nice.
And to grow within whatever that space is, right? So that's what I'd say about, myself is I'm great at observing what's going on around me and figuring out a way to implement that in my own business, but also understanding my purpose here on earth. Like most of us should realize that, everything that we do is for the benefit of others and never ourselves. I watched a video, a guy said why doesn't the chicken eat his own eggs? And why doesn't a cow drink milk? Because they're in position to produce. We're producers. So we're supposed to produce for others to benefit from, I'm not going to sit here and drink my own milk. Right. So that's pretty much to sum it all up. Like that's what I do. I try to figure out where the need is and I try to provide that need as best as I can. And if I can't do it, I put players on the platform. I put them in the game and say, look, let's accomplish this together.
Okay. I like that. I like that you said that, you wanted to focus in on cities and areas and places that aren't your typical norm or your typical go-tos, right? So like even being in the spot like Reading with you it inspired me to get more involved because we're up there in Reading pretty often. So we're looking for other real estate opportunities up that way. As well as the fact that we got family up there. But
I'm looking.
Yeah, and it was good just like being in there, like you said, creating that atmosphere where people can actually network, get together, and to have a person like yourself curate that experience and realize what's the value. The value is being able to position yourself next to somebody who can really help you to bring that vision together. And when you said
nothing, we both know JD, so we could just stop there when it comes to Reading. All it takes is one person.
Facts.
All it takes is one person.
Facts. Listen, I told him, shout out to him because he definitely put on for the city of Reading that day. And like I said, I don't know all of the ins and outs of the city, but I know that I was impressed with what he was able to pull off. And but just like even going back to you, like curating these experiences. To your point, you were saying that it's all about empowering other people and putting them in a position because who we are, what gifts that God has given us, it is to be shared with other people. You know,
Right.
I think of joy. It's like Jesus, others, and then yourself. Right.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, when you realize that you have a purpose that is bigger than yourself and is bigger than money, it's a lot easier to allow yourself to be used. And one thing that I always tell people is that, you know, leave yourself in a space to be used, and you'll be surprised what God is able to do with you. But shout out to
Amen to
the
that.
shout out to the mayor of Newark. Shout out to I spent a lot of time in Newark. Shout out to DJ, what is that? All Purpose,
Oh,
Dre Scuffs. Uh, yeah, I spent a little bit of time in Newark, man. So I'm glad you like your current mayor. I'm glad the mayor is an advocate for the city, and that's exactly what we need.
absolutely.
See. But
Absolutely.
going back to how you became a realtor, what was it about real estate that piqued or sparked your interest in that particular area?
So I'm going to correct you. It wasn't even anything about real estate because I didn't know
Mm,
much about it.
mm,
I'll be honest. My mom didn't own a home.
mm,
I didn't have friends or anyone that owned properties, right? So the only thing I knew was what was in my head, using my imagination of what it was. First of all, real estate wasn't real estate. It was just get a house. Right. That's what it was for me.
yeah.
So it was the idea that, okay, I'm having children, I have a partner, we're crazy about each other. Let's buy a house. Let's get married and buy a house, right?
Mm,
That's what's left in the relationship. We need to buy
mm,
a house, we need to get married. So that's all it was for me. Becoming a realtor was just another situation by default. I was looking for a house, didn't like my realtor.
mm, mm,
And for me, it was just like, you know what? I'm going to figure it out on my own. So I went to school for
mm.
2 weeks, got licensed, and then a month later, we were under contract.
Nice,
Right.
nice.
So, you know, my down payment for the house was then returned in the
Yep,
form of a commission check, right?
yep.
So I was like, oh wait, we could do this. I think we could do this. I was like, instead of just throwing this license away, I think I can make use of it. But not only that, it was like, you know what? I'm gonna be the best realtor in the game, because if
Mm,
my experience was like this with one realtor, then a second, and then we interviewed several and didn't like
mm,
the ones that we met,
mm,
I then had to go get a license to make something
mm,
happen. They need somebody like me in this industry. Like, that was my attitude, right? And then the reward for my good, you know, deeds, like me being a good person, like
mm,
it's gonna take me far. This is gonna be fulfilling. In my first year, I didn't know much about real estate. I would go into the office, I would absorb all the information that I could possibly get. And I
mm,
mean, we're talking about principles, we're talking about different strategies, we're talking about, you know, role playing, cold calling, writing letters, door knocking, and also absorbing the stories that were being told, right? So I was able to live through other people's
mm,
experiences and kind of visualize what the process looked like. And then I would go to open houses and be in front of people, and they would ask questions. I just repeat what I learned, but I spoke as though they were my
mm,
own experiences. So my first year of doing that, learning through others,
mm,
right? Because I didn't have a hands-on experience because I didn't have a client. I
mm.
had to learn the process through other people and learn the do's and don'ts. I successfully closed 18 homes that year and made six figures. Right. My first year in business, but 40% of my business came from open houses, just being in
Mm,
front of people. So,
mm.
of course, that was like, I went home like, babe,
I
I
can do
made money
this.
just people liking who I was.
Mm,
I made money because people just liked me. And I then understood the power of influence. You
yep,
know, people want to work with people they can feel safe with,
yep.
you know, and to feel safe, I have to know you, I have to like you, I have to trust you. And they have a image of who you are, like in their head, like you're their best friend, you're like
Mm,
their mother figure, big sis, you're like my daughter. Like, I've heard those things.
mm.
And when I've heard those things, I was like, okay, I'm doing a good job at meeting the needs of this individual.
I love it. I love it.
You know,
Yeah.
so that was to me the most enjoyable experience was my first year in real estate. But that's how it started. That's why I'm
Listen,
still
that
here.
is one is amazing. And I think I seen a video to your testament to your point about the connection, and it's the relation, it's the experience that you leave people with, right? People won't remember everything that you say. What did Maya Angelou say? They won't remember
Yeah,
everything
they
that you
won't remember
say,
what you say, but they
but they
will
remember how you
remember
made them
how you make
feel.
them feel.
Right. And I think I seen a video. It must have been a young lady you helped to purchase her home, and you guys must have connected when I'm not sure when it was aired, but I watched it on your page, and she was just in tears just
Oh
being back
yeah,
in your presence. And I was just like, how we impart on other people or what we leave with other people is a huge part of the experience. So it's a great testament to who you are and what services that you're bringing, and you decided to get into the field because of a need for yourself originally. And it's just funny how we don't know the entire picture at times,
right.
but when we give it time and space to grow and create and flourish, that's exactly what it does.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
my wife became a realtor that way too. We were looking for another house here in Maryland, and she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna do this myself. So yeah.
But you know what? It's funny that we, as women, we're quick to get a license, but not we don't move as quickly when it's time to invest,
Mm,
like in real estate. But we can
mm,
talk about that another time. But that's just the real. And I love seeing women with that are brave and they just jump into the
mm,
industry and they're investors.
mm,
They're doing the fix and flips. They're buying up properties. They're
mm,
developers. They're owning these commercial buildings. And I'm like, I wish
mm,
I had the same courage when I started.
mm,
And I'm there now, but it took me a while to get there. And I think most of us women, we like to study first. I need to know everything there is to know so
mm,
I have full control
mm,
at all times. Whereas men, you guys go in and y'all mess up and you learn from your mistakes, but you
mm,
become wiser and wiser very quickly, right?
mm,
So although you spent a lot of money and you lost a lot of money, it was like going to school, it worked itself
mm.
out. And then over time, it's like large rewards, right?
Well, I
In the
have to
bank
tell you,
account.
I have to jump in and tell you, it is the opposite over here in the Hughes household. I am the most cautious person you ever want to meet. But it takes me a while for buy-in. My wife is typically the person who has already bought in and is trying to go there. Now she's got to try to convince me to jump on. I
How
look
long did it
for
take her?
it didn't take her long at all. It's like whenever she puts her mind on something,
No, I'm talking about
it's
the investment part to become an investor.
mm, I don't. One, I think that she was already involved in stocks, even in stocks like that. She didn't have properties before we got together, but she was already investing in terms of stocks. She had a
So
portfolio
she
that she
came
had
into
already
real
created.
estate already with the experience.
Yep, yep,
So like not many women are like that where we're coming into the industry
mm,
and this is just a new environment, new
mm,
territory, something that again we weren't taught at a young age.
yep,
And now as an adult, it's like, listen, I have to keep order. I have to keep
mm,
control. I have to make sure,
mm.
you know, if we make
It's
an
it's
investment.
changing though. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's still I don't know if that's still the
No,
same
that's
though,
what I
Queen.
said. I love
Yeah.
to see that it's changing, it's
Oh, yeah,
evolving. I didn't say
yeah,
that it's still
yeah,
the same.
yeah,
I'm saying I love to see that it's evolving because that's what it was.
yeah,
Now I
yeah.
see more, developers that are women. And I said, it took me a while. It took me a
Mm,
while to realize, like, look, don't be afraid just to get out there. You know what I mean? But I had
absolutely.
to see women actively doing it to know that it was possible because before there weren't a lot of women in the industry
Mm,
as
yeah.
investors. And still the men are dominating the
Mhm.
industry when it comes down to being an investor. Or even you said you're a realtor?
No, my wife's a realtor. I'm not a
Your
realtor.
wife is? Ask
Yep.
her even about commercial.
Mm,
It's more men than the women, the presence of women, right?
mm,
We
mm,
kind of lack that. But the more that we see
mm,
things, right, the more we're inspired because we know
mm.
that it's possible.
Absolutely.
We know that it's
Absolutely.
possible.
Yeah. And full disclaimer, she's an attorney by trade, so she got into
She's
real
super
estate
equipped.
by there. Yeah, yeah. So
You
uh,
found the mission a lot. She
yeah,
into stocks and she's an
yeah.
attorney.
Yeah.
That explains it all.
Yep, yep. There you go. Let me say, what I was gonna say, well, the two things that you actually got into, curating experiences and real estate were areas that you didn't even plan on. They happened to you happen to stumble upon. But one, I'm glad that both of those areas have been beneficial, not only to you and your family and your household, but to also to everybody else that you continue to serve.
Yes, every title I have, even being a mom, it's kind of like you just stumble into these roles. I got 3 kids.
Yeah.
You don't plan for these things, but God ordained them. So it's like I'm going to make sure that I execute, I deliver, and I do whatever I'm here to do, like whatever my purpose may be, to mother these children, to host events and inspire, empower, and as far as real estate is concerned, to make investments, to know what that process looks like, so I can, guide others, and hopefully I'm making an impact even through that. I believe that I am.
Okay. I believe that you are too, for a person who just met you a couple of months ago. I see your influence, I see your reach, and I also see the potential to touch and reach so many more, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on the back community. But keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. But I'm going to take you somewhere else really, really fast, because I think sometimes we only see the finished product, right? We don't spend a lot of time examining and figuring out how we got to be where we are today. But thinking of the younger Queenella, I want to ask you a few questions as it pertains to that. But like being from Newark, were there different programs that you were involved in that helped to shape you to have this type of a go-getter mindset, or what were the things, what were the makings, how did this mindset come to be?
So believe it or not, I was super shy, fearful to talk in front of people. Like I couldn't do public speaking. The confidence, I did not have this type of confidence until 33, which was 3 years ago.
Nice.
Prior to that, and that's speaking, right? I couldn't do this, what we're doing. Please, that would have never happened 3 years ago. Prior to that, the most that I would do is singing on stage, right? But that was for 9 years. Maybe the first 3 years of that 9, I would sing with my eyes closed on stage. Like I would sing with my eyes closed on stage. I would sing, maybe having my back facing the crowd. I was super nervous. I had anxiety. There was nothing I could do about it. What I will say is when I was younger, it wasn't so much the programs that I was involved in, because my mom worked a lot of hours. So she could not, unfortunately, like put us into like after school programs or anything like that. For the most part, it was church. So there was the youth revival service, and I got called up to speak. And what I learned to do was to do research, write stuff down, and just follow along, just to read, right? I wasn't the girl that would grab the mic and work the crowd, or, lay hands on people. That wasn't my thing. But one role that I enjoyed most was to be an usher, where you would stand up against the wall and you would look around, and if somebody raised their hand, they needed a fan, I come running. If there was a kid crying and the mom is trying to listen to the preacher, I would ask the helper, do you want me to take the baby out into the lobby, right? And that to me was something I enjoyed doing. I didn't like, and to this day, it wasn't like, I don't need to be the star. When you came to Reading, I wasn't on the mic. You didn't hear me talking much. I wasn't doing my thing that you see on social media. For the most part, I was serving. And I'll be honest, I enjoy that more than anything.
I like
most of my events, you have everyone else is hosting this event that I'm going to be I'm hosting in October. Everyone's talking. I have someone coming out to host the event. And the entire time I will be behind the scenes serving. I enjoy that most.
Well, I'm glad you just brought up that event in October, because Q4 is too big of an event not to highlight and spend some time. So I know you quietly touched on it, but you got something big brewing for October, Q4 Mastermind. Tell us a little bit more about that and how people can get involved if they're in the area.
So Q4 Mastermind is for fourth quarter, Q4, right? Fourth quarter. And that is usually the time where we kind of panic, right? Because it's like, wait, I had goals this year and I'm nowhere near where I wanted to be. So either you start to feel like you have to catch up, or you feel like, a failure. Some may feel like I have time to catch up. Some may feel like, just throw in the towel, I failed. Some have actually achieved their goals and they're already into next year, right? So Q4 is to meet the needs of each of the three that I just mentioned. So for that individual that feels like, look, I failed, I'm giving up. No, you need to be in the room with people to push you to do more. Finish it strong. Finish the year strong. All right. We set goals. Goals are not meant to be what did Bruce Lee say? Goals are not meant to be reached, they're meant to be aimed. So you aim at it and you hope that you hit. If you miss, it's okay. You tried. You tried. But as you kept trying, there's a lot that you learned about yourself. You learned more about precision. You learned more about discipline. You learned more about being focused. Absolutely. There's so many things that we learn from just aiming at a goal. So many things we accomplish along the way, small wins that we don't celebrate. Right? But let's play the tape back. How much have you achieved? How much have you accomplished? The growth, personally, the development in your career, trying to achieve this goal. You're not a failure. Absolutely. And the ones that's trying to hurry up and catch up, yes, let's hurry up and catch up and see if we could, meet that goal. But maybe there's something that the people that are going to be in the room could help you, assist you with to quickly accomplish that, because we have a few months left in the year to do it. And for those that are planning for the next year, let's look at what you've done this year. And maybe, you reached your goal, but maybe you could have done better. Absolutely. And I could show you how. Some people are just excited that they achieved their goals, not realizing you kind of halfway did it. Imagine if you achieved your goal, not really doing anything. Imagine if you actually applied yourself, like fully, like full potential. You know what I mean? You gave it your best. Imagine you probably would have doubled, surpassed, exceeded beyond expectations, right? So that's what this event is all about. It's about having a mastermind, everyone coming in, I pour into you, you pour into me. It's not just to go and be entertained by the speakers. I even asked the speakers, I said, listen, I'm hoping you can, I need a presentation from you. And I usually don't do that. I allow people to just come and do what they do. But I'm like, I need a presentation because I want people to I need people to look at the board and understand what they're being taught. I want people to walk away feeling full, I don't want any fluff. I don't want any motivational speak. Like, motivational speaking is cool. We want to uplift and encourage and empower. Yes. But I want to balance. I want people to learn something. Nice. You know what I mean? And that's what this mastermind is about.
Okay. And where will the mastermind be held at, and how do people sign up for it?
So it'll be held at the DoubleTree by the Hilton, Newark Penn Station. Of course, Newark, New Jersey, right across the street from the Penn Station. Okay. So for those that are like, oh, I don't want to drive, jump right on the train. Right there. All right, let you off right in front of the door.
And I'll make sure I put the link to the, I think it's Eventbrite. I'll make sure I put the link in the comment section. I mean, for the when I post the interview as well.
Yes, it's q4mastermind.eventbrite.com.
There we go. I'm still going back. I wanted to circle back because I still wanted to explore how you became to be who you are, and knowing all of those experiences that you just spoke of. It made me think about, like, so you've been through so many different experiences. You've learned so much as a result of those experiences, right? So now other people can learn vicariously through you. So, right, they don't have to make the same mistakes, right? They can go ahead and engage from you. But what is something that you know about yourself now as an adult, as a person who's had all of these experiences, that you wish the younger version of Queenella had? Like, a lot of times we don't know what we don't know. but knowing who you are now, knowing where you are, if what is something you wish someone would have spoken to the younger version of you?
So I'm gonna say, I wish I knew I was beautiful.
Mm.
And let me tell you why that plays a major role, and that just solves everything. When I think about my aunts, my uncles, my mom, my dad, right? During their time, during their era, my mom was born in the 60s. To be light skinned versus being dark skinned, like the dark skinned folks, they dealt with some things, right? A lot of self-hate, right? And bleaching was big then. My dad is Haitian, my mom, she's American, but it was
Oh,
a
ça
big
passe.
but it was a huge deal. But then as time went on, now everyone, like, the darker the better.
Yep.
Right? It's so exotic now. You see videos on social media when someone is extremely dark, people stop, stare, take videos and want to do, you know what I mean? It's a unique look. Back then too, you had to look a certain way to be a model. Like I'm talking about now, my time, my era. You had to look a certain way to be a model, considered a model, right? Now today, you see people with gaps, right? Just odd looking, very unique features, like bold face, masculine looking women, working the runway, bald head, like long hair, doesn't matter. Plus size, doesn't matter. Fupas and all, we just don't care, right? That wasn't the case back then. Like I had big lips, still got them. Big lips wasn't a thing. Like I got picked on for having big lips. I got picked on for having big feet, picked on for being the tallest one in the school. And that made me an angry person, right? But all of that was like bottled up and kept to myself. And my social skills weren't so great. So I was a class clown, but I didn't know how to be a friend because I was always guarded. Right. And that's something that I deal with to this day, being guarded, because I don't really know how to receive people. I was never in the environment of having friends, if that makes any sense. The only thing that I had was siblings. My grandmother had 12 kids. Her kids had kids. I had like 42 cousins on a Sunday. Every Sunday we went to church. We was at grandma's house, right? So grandma already had a church in her living room on Sunday. So that was all I needed to come outside of my family and make friends. For me, I feel like now it's only for people to experience me, be it a bad experience or a good experience. It's only for you to experience me, and then I go home. And then I realize people are like, no, Queen, in my mind, you're my friend. And I want you to be there for me. I put it in my stories yesterday. I was like, Google how to be a better friend, because Queenella is struggling. And that's something that I'm very open about. Like a lot of things that I'm learning about myself, because I want people to understand, look, it's okay if you think this way too. Something so small could have could hold you back from being the best version of yourself, right? So had I known I was beautiful when I was younger, everything else that I'm dealing with as a result of that, not loving who I was, not being confident in my own skin, not seeing the value of my worth as a child, that went on for years. All right. And I say from like, I want to say maybe first grade all the way up until adulthood, right? I had to deal with that. And thank God for social media. Social media, the comments, people saying, oh my God, you're so pretty. Oh my God, I love your lip color. Oh my God, I love you. I'm like, oh, so I am pretty. You know? So that one thing, I think if I were confident in myself at a younger age, I would be more improved today. Okay. If that makes any sense. So I try to push that even on my children, to be confident. If I hear my daughter, I'll give you something today. She had cheer today, and she was struggling with her hair, and she's crying because she can't get her hair to do what she wants it to do. And I said, babe, your hair is beautiful. And she said, well, the girls are going to pick on me because everyone here is straight and mine is kinky. And I just want to make sure that it's smooth. Do you have any gel? And I'm like, love your kinky, love your curls. You know? I didn't have that. And I feel like when you nurture someone in that way to make them just love themselves, that one thing, having that love for yourself, it's like so many things just work out, after everything else kind of aligns, because this is what you're attracting. That confidence, that love for yourself kind of is like a magnet for all good, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense. And it's, it's one of those life lessons that, you don't wish on anybody to have to go through. And that's why I say we can learn vicariously through you, right? But once you go through it, you know what's missing, right? So now you know what it would have felt like if someone would have been able to step in when people were making comments or saying things. So now, we become those individuals. We become those people who make it comfortable for other people to be themselves. And that was something I learned about myself early on. It was just like, I got influence, and for a long part, I wasn't willing it in a positive way, right? But I always knew I had influence. But the more you learn that you got influence and you can change people, it really starts to help you to find your own purpose. And it helps you to deliver better people, especially as a parent, as a friend, as a child. What is it? In all aspects of your life is what I'm just saying. It was just like, you go through your experiences. Now it'll help you to give that confidence, that self-esteem to somebody else who didn't have it. And it's the same way now. I got 3 boys, and it's just like, no, I want you guys to be confident. I want you guys to understand who you are, but I also want you to realize that there's value in vulnerability, right? I let my kids see me cry. I let my kids hug me. I let my kids kiss me, and I do the same thing back, because I didn't always have that either, right?
Yeah,
so it's just
neither
like,
did I.
I grew up in an environment where you had to be tough as nails. You had to go after as many women as you could see that the eye allowed you to. And now it's kind of like going through a process of unlearning so many of the things that we learned when we were younger, to learn how to give the younger generation the things that they need. And that's why I ask these questions, because I do a lot of mentoring. I've been mentoring for over 20 years. And it's crazy because I'll be 40 next month.
Oh, wow.
And that just tells you
Nice.
how early I started. So, and it's very important for us to tap into our own stories. It's very important for us to realize how we felt, because it allows us to connect with other people along the journey, and then we can help them to shorten up their path.
Well, not only that, as far as us helping them and having a better influence, I'll say having these type of sessions that we're having now, it helps with my awareness, if that makes any sense. So when someone is asking me questions about real estate, I have to do research on real estate. I have to know that whatever it is that I'm presenting, it's accurate information. It's not fluff, right? These are stats. This is what it is. And then I can include my opinion. But when someone is asking questions about me, I have to do research. Even in that moment, I have to dig and dive and say, all right, what is it that I want, or what is it that I need, or who am I? Or like, once someone keeps asking you those questions, you start to realize like, oh, wow, when we got this live, I got some work to do. Right. So it's like, dog, when we get off this live, when I go home, I got some work to do, because and that's why you see people break down, and some people break down during interviews, because during times like these that there's an awareness, that we have a realization of, wait, I'm not as together as I thought. Right. And that's the moment that I had with you when asked, what is it that you would have told yourself when you were younger? And I'm not going to just say what everybody else says. Oh, believe in yourself. No, like if I had thought that I was beautiful, if I had thought, because people told me I was ugly, right? Because I was skinny, and if I had thought that I was worth it, I would not have made a lot of decisions that I made in life. So awareness is key. I feel like, anyone that's listening right now, you may not be called to do an interview, but interview yourself. Ask yourself these same questions. Who are you? Who are you? If you could ask yourself or tell yourself something when you were younger, what would that be? What could you have done or stopped or protected yourself from, and your life would have changed, for the better? And then whatever that may be, write it down. And then those are the things you need to work on to improve. Those are the things that is necessary to work on to make you a better person, because it's never too late.
Absolutely.
It's never too late. During that development, that was my development stage for 33 years of my life. Now I got to figure out to undo that.
Mm.
I've been brainwashed to believe that I was worthless. Now I need to tell myself I'm worth it, and I need to remind myself that daily to undo or to repair the damages that were done.
Yeah. And my last point to what you just said is an a very important part of that process is surrounding yourself with the right people, right?
Absolutely.
So I live off of philosophy that I say audit your circle, right? And I mean that,
Yep.
right? It's just like be mindful of the people that you allow in your space. Be mindful of the people who you are seeking opinions from. Be mindful of what you're telling yourself, right? But audit your circle and constantly audit your circle, right? And it's like I used to be a hoarder. My younger version, I was a hoarder of people. I never wanted to let people go. So, and I also learned through life that it's okay to let people go too. It's okay to let things go, right? And it's very important to audit your circle because everyone isn't meant to go to every season of life with you.
Absolutely. I agree.
All
I
right,
agree
I'm hitting you
1000%.
with my rapid fire section right now before I forget to do it, because I know I got a couple other questions before I let you go here, and it's too good. But I'm gonna run the risk of
The
mixing it up a
rapid
little bit
fire.
right now. So I'm
Okay.
gonna ask you a few questions because one, obviously, I know you're a professional, you're a mom. And I also think that, in a lot of ways, people never get a chance to really understand who you are as a person because we don't always have that space and grace to just let our guards down and just be us. But there's a lot of value in it because a lot of people look up to you. A lot of people, even your own kids, and they want to see it. But sometimes we don't even know some of the most simple things. So this rapid fire section is a very quick section of 60 seconds. I'm going to ask you a few questions. I will not interject. I may look and be like, what? But I will
Like,
not
seriously?
interject. Yeah. And it's just to get a better understanding of who you are. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. First question. What is your favorite snack or cheat food?
Starbucks chocolate brownies.
Ooh. All right. All right. Who is your favorite rapper?
J. Cole.
All right. All right. All right. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Hawaii. That's a place that I've been to and I was most peaceful. Came back home and I wanted to go back immediately.
Love it. What makes you really angry?
Really angry? What makes me really angry? What makes me really angry, Queen? Oh, like I gotta do one of those. What makes me really what makes me really angry? Golly. What makes
That's all
me
right.
really angry?
I'm coming back to it.
I got it. What makes me
Okay.
really angry is if I give you the steps of doing something and then I allow you to take on a role, right? I have a function form for my events. And if I give you a role and I break down everything that it is the church should do to execute, and you're constantly coming to me asking me, what do you want me to do? It's just like, I'm trying to focus on this and everything else, all the moving parts. And I give you one small role and you just can't, deliver. So I don't know if it makes me really angry, but I do need to take a walk.
Okay. Okay. That's fair enough. Fair enough. Final one. What's your biggest fear?
Ooh. My biggest fear is, I'll be honest, how, I think everyone goes to their parents or at least maybe they keep it to themselves. Some of them, they actually go to their parents with this, but it's like, mom or dad, when I was younger, I wish you had. And then to hear that, I have three. So if I get that from all three, and it's like, yeah, mom, I wish you didn't work as much. Or mom, I wish you were there for that game. Remember that one game when I was 12? Or mom, I would be devastated because I can't, what can I do? So to me, that's my fear is, I try to be present as much as possible for every little single thing. Because my fear is that they will say to me what I thought to say to my parents or have already said to my parents that most would say, I wish I had, or you didn't, or you did 10 years ago at a time that I can't I can't do anything about. So that's my fear.
Right. All right. All right. Well, like I said, I am not allowed to say anything other than but thank you for graciously indulging me and my quick rapid fire section of questions.
That was fun.
Yeah. Thank you. You'll be surprised, man. It's just like how much more a person could take away from you just by learning some of the most common things. I know I was joking with you off air about, grits, I mean sugar in your grits or
Yes.
not.
The
That's a big
plus.
thing. We even do it at work. You're like, do you put sugar in your grits? Because I don't want to work with you if you don't, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. I have three more questions and I'm gonna let you go.
Okay.
Um, being an author, being a mom, being a singer, being an entrepreneur, um, how do you keep or how do you maintain a healthy work-life balance?
So it's the balance. For there to be a balance, I just blend the two.
Mm.
Right.
Explain that.
So what I'm trying to do is it's like me dating a guy, right? But I don't want my guy to meet my kids because that's not their father.
Mm.
Right. And if my kids meet the father, they might bump heads. Right.
Mm.
So I got to slowly introduce the two together. And then at some point, they'll be comfortable enough. And it's like we're all just one big family.
Mm.
Right. So what I've been doing is trying to introduce my personal with my business slowly. Right. Because if I take my kids with me to every show and every event, they be like, Ma, I just want to stay home.
Yep.
Right. So I constantly tell them what I'm doing. And I ask them like, hey, do you want to come? You want to sit in on this? They've showed up to a few singing and speaking engagements. They've been there for a few showings. And now my daughter wants to be an architect. So now it's not something I'm, shoving down her throat, right? It's something that I'm slowly introducing her to. I've been hosting events. I've hosted at least 14 events. If I didn't speak at the event, I was the event coordinator. 14 events this year. This is the first event in October where my cousins will be there, and my cousins and my children, right? My cousins will be a part of the staff, a part of the crew. I think if I had called on them from day one when I was figuring things out, although they were a success on the back end, I was still learning and figuring things out. It would have been overwhelming for them. They wouldn't be here this year. I'm sure. So to my cousins that, I know they listening now because I apologize to them. I'm not the one that calls them often. I don't pop up at everything. I don't show up like I used to because I'm just so focused on my career. To be honest, at age 36, I don't know if it was the same for you, but the closer you're getting to 40, you feel like I need to catch up because I should have accomplished a lot more at this age. Like that's how I'm feeling, right? So I'm just tunnel vision, like there's so much more I need to do. I won't be young forever. And now I'm realizing like, why do I keep the two separated? Why am I Queenella the realtor, the speaker, the author over here? And then I come home and I shut that off and I'm just the mom, right? Yeah. And then when I go back to being on stage, I shut off the idea of being a mother. Why not have them on stage? On stage with me or on the sideline? Like they're the ones with my phone recording. Yep. Right. So I'm trying to figure out a way to marry the two so it's a nice blend. And there's no such thing as I have to share myself between my man and my kids, my boo and my kids.
Have you ever heard of well, this definitely helped me and it still helps me even at work, being in an atmosphere where we deal with $261 million for investments every year, something like that, right? But like a lot of people talk about imposter syndrome and all these things. I've just learned that me being able to be me is my superpower.
Oh yeah.
So I go into every and any room and any meeting authentically Tyrell Hughes, right? And it makes me more comfortable. It makes me more approachable, and it makes me realize that I have a vast knowledge base that could be very, very valuable to this particular group or to this particular meeting, right? So I've learned to walk in the fact that my experiences have become my own superpower, where a lot of times we end up shying away from a lot of our experiences. Like in my book, I talked about, I went from everything from being kicked out of school, hustling, gangs, to traveling the world, living in Africa, studying Arabic, studying French. I could have never imagined that my life would be where it is right now, right? But I've learned that even the uglier parts or the uglier stages of my life have served a purpose. So I'm saying this to you because, like, as you merge those worlds together, each part of it helps you to bring together and synergy. The sum of the whole is greater than any of the individual parts. So as you put all of those pieces together, you know, your all your experiences are your superpower. So
Right.
allow those to walk into every space that you are walking into, and realize that God divinely set you up with those experiences, whether you like them or not at the time. But now they'll be able to position you to authentically speak on the things in the rooms and the occasions and the events that you're at. But
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. All right. This is
I
probably
agree.
my favorite, huh?
No, I was just saying I agree.
Oh, okay. All right. This is probably my favorite question in all 3 seasons. Now going into season 4, I'm going to test it out here as well.
Uh-oh.
Um,
I hope I respond. This is your favorite. Hope I respond the right way.
Listen, I think everybody has their own definition of success. How would you define success for you?
So, success was before my definition. To be successful, you have to be like the American dream. You have to own a house. You have to be married with children. You have to have a college degree, have a career where you're making 6 figures or more, right? That life, right? Suited up, someone important. You walk in the room, everyone respects you. It's like, no. Success for me is happy. Success for me is freedom. Success for me is I know who I am. I know my purpose, right? Because whether I have 6 figures, whether I'm driving in a nice car, married with kids, because all of those things, right? It's a pretty picture, but failure isn't there, right? And that's something that is inevitable. Failure is not in that picture of success, right? Success means I made it. I want, like, you know how I said I'm trying to catch up? I want to catch up to the point where I feel like I beat life. Like life has had enough of Queenella. I done try to beat this girl up so much, bring her down, make her feel less than, right? But it's like, no, I'm living. I want to be free. I want to feel like I failed today. Good. Guess what? I'm wiser than I was before that failure, right? I want to have such a positive outlook on life where I'm kind of like just coasting, where it's like, oh, Queen, let's travel. I don't want to have my response to be, I can't because I don't have the funds. I'd rather say I can't because I have an event scheduled and I'm going to be doing something that I enjoy doing. And I'm already locked in and I'm sorry, I can't attend. Right. That to me is success. That's success. It's not that I don't have the money to, I just have an obligation. Right. Success isn't success. Failure is a part of success. And that's what success is too. It's happiness. It's learning. It's becoming the whole you. Right. Where you're kind of like deaf to the outside noise. Like nothing really matters. Like I'm doing God's work. Like nothing really matters. You can't say anything to break me down. If I'm in a corner crying, it's because I feel like I'm stuck and I can't move forward. But the moment I get that push, like you talked about your circle, my tribe is there. My tribe is always there to pull me out. Like, girl, you letting life get you again. Come on, fight back, right? And when I fight back and I win, that's success. That's success.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Second to last question is probably going to be a tearjerker for you.
A tearjerker. Oh, Lord.
See. Thinking about, and I know you said that at 36, you feel like you have a lot more of catching up to do, right? And this is always like a topic of contention, complacency versus contentment, right? And I will humbly say from the outside looking in that, you have arrived in so many ways and avenues and showed up for yourself in ways that you probably never thought imagined. Like a lot of times we pray to be in the positions that we are right now, right? And it's very important to understand that, take all of this fullness in and realize that there's still more, but I'm not complacent here and there's still
Right.
more, right?
Right.
But thinking about everything that you've gone through, all of your experiences, all of your failures, all of your successes, what about your life's path are you most proud of, Queenella?
I remember my broker manager, shout out to Mike Panisi. He remembers even what I'm getting ready to say. I had a meeting with him because I was just so lost. I was lost. And I would point the finger at him. I was pointing the finger at everybody that my life wasn't going the way that it needed to because I didn't have the support from you. If only you had helped me, if only you had supported me, if only you had stepped up to the plate like you said you would, that I would be in a better position as a realtor. Then I went to my dad. If only you had been there for me and done this and done that, I would be a better woman. I would be good at, selecting men because I would have an example of what a real man looks like. And then I would go to my mom. If only you didn't leave me and go upstate New York, for your career, right? What you chose to do with your career. And I was here and I had to figure out how to be a mother by myself. I was pointing a finger at everybody because my life was not going the way that it should because I felt like I was doing my part. And I need everybody in my life to do their part to benefit me. Not understanding that everybody has a life of their own that they had to figure out for themselves because they're living their lives and going through struggles, obstacles, and developments the same as I am. Like my people don't revolve around me, right? So that again, that path of awareness, personal development, those self-help books, like when I read the 4 Agreements and I started reading the Bible more and I started to understand like being called Queenella since I was a child psychologically made me feel like I was not so much superior, but like, I don't know how, like they say, be careful what you name your children because that's who they'll grow up to be. So there was the good in that because I felt like as time went on, I'm a queen. But then the bad in that was to feel like everybody is in position to help me get further in life. And I felt like my success, I was feeling because of them. So it was like being in a desert, right? A dry desert. That's where I was. Once I broke through that mentality in my mind, I shifted my mindset into understanding exactly what everybody was going through, exactly what I was asking of people, which was ridiculous, right? And I started to point the finger at myself, right? That's when my world turned into water, birds, trees, right? Nice attractions, right? Like tourists and everything in town because my world is just, there's so much to offer. That's when I evolved and became the person you see today. I wasn't always this person. I wasn't always this person. And I'm so thankful that I learned as the younger version of me than the older version of me, because the older version of me probably would have been alone in life. And when I say alone, I mean, even maybe my kids would not have been around because I was the person that blamed everyone for my failures and not myself. And that took a lot to do. It took a lot to realize. The more people said it, I still didn't process it. I didn't get it. It was just like, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about. Whatever, it's you, it's you, it's you. It wasn't until the pandemic, COVID, where I had to sit on my butt.
Nobody around, can't come to my house.
Right. I had to sit on my butt. I talked about it in my book. I was suicidal. I had, you know, been married for 12 years. That relationship fell apart. It was so much going on, and I lost like 60 pounds. You saw my collarbone was sunken in, cheekbones. It was just, I was a mess, but I had to die to be reborn. And I love I don't regret anything that I went through in 2020. I don't regret the heartbreaks, the struggles. I don't regret the people that turned their back to me because they felt like, Queen, you need to get it together. You need help. Like, I wasn't a devil. I wasn't an evil person. But when it came down to, like I said, even my broker, I left his office. I took my license out of his office and went somewhere else. We bumped heads. And when I came back, I said to him, like, you know what? You know where you went wrong, but I know where I went wrong. And the bulk of why our relationship was the way that it was because I blamed you for not being successful in this industry when it had nothing to do with you. It wasn't until I realized my purpose that if I don't sell a house, I'm still happy. I'm still happy because it's bigger than real estate. It's bigger than anything. Like the way I see life now and how I want to be remembered, or just how I want to be, like just to be, you know what I mean? I want that to be more than selling houses and breaking records, because that's not what it's about. I don't care about the accolades anymore. And I think back then that's what I was chasing. I was chasing recognition. I was chasing that high of when people started to tell me, you're doing a good job, you're amazing, you're beautiful, because I was deprived of that as a child. So now that I'm older and I'm getting it, I wanted to keep it going. And because I wasn't getting those awards and I wasn't admired as much, I faulted everybody. I felt like y'all were the reason why, because you guys were the distractions. You guys didn't create this path for me. It was your job, not mine. So that's what I'm mostly proud of. I'll say that. My growth.
Oh, hey, listen. I am proud of your growth. Just hearing it, and you just lumped in a lot in that
I appreciate
in that
it.
last one over the course of the last 3 years. But I think it's I'm glad that you say that you wouldn't take any of it back, even as hard and hurtful as the experiences were, right? Because they have brought a newness to you, and that same newness you're able to imprint on your kids, you're able to imprint on yourself, and you're able to imprint on others. And a lot of us, like I said this earlier, a lot of us want the end result, right? But we don't want to hear about or understand all of the vicissitudes, the ups and downs that we have to go through in order to figure out who we are. But I am thankful that you have and you are, and I'm also thankful that today uh, um, we have more space, open spaces to talk about different things. Like I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I love therapy. I regularly go to therapy, right? We talk about finances. We talk about all of these different things where we didn't have spaces to do it previously, but now we do. And I love the fact that most of us are becoming more emotionally intelligent. And for a woman, a lot of times people are saying, you know what, I'm going into my soft season right now. This is my soft season, right? And for guys, for us, it's just like, well, you know what, I want to learn how to be more emotionally intelligent. I don't want to just be the caveman image that they've always told me I had to be, right? So
well, to be emotionally intelligent, in order to know something, you have to have been exposed to it. And that is also something else that I thank God for. Is the reason why I said I don't want to take anything back, because that intelligence came from experience. It didn't come from hearing stories like I heard someone went through and they taught me a lot through their life. No, I was taught because I went through it, and I'm like an expert, So the individual that would typically be outcast, right? They're the underdog. People don't understand them, and they're like, no, she thinks everybody revolves around her. In my mind, I know that girl. I know that woman very well. don't be mean to her. Like let's talk to her. Let's like I can have a conversation with that person. I could be friends with that person. Why? Because I was once you. So you and I, when we talk, you understand my language and I understand yours. We can communicate, right? The reason why, you see a lot of men, I'm around a lot of men, right? Because I went through a phase of like, I had to tap into my masculine energy and it kind of consumed me. I'm cutting my hair off and everything. I was very cold. I know what it means to be a man and you're responsible for everything. And the ones that I would typically run to and cry to, I'm responsible for. So I can't go to this individual and say, I'm really going through it, because now I'm going through it. You're going to worry and try to lighten my load by taking away the responsibilities that, I'm responsible for this. Now you're taking it away from me because you feel like I'm a part of the problem. So I won't tell certain people when I'm going through certain things because I feel like I don't want you to worry. I don't want you to worry. I have it under control. But what that does now is I have to deal with my emotions alone. I have to be alone with that. And I'm like, you know what? Now I get why the guys I dated were this way, and they just wanted to go for a walk, and they didn't want me to worry. So it's just a lot of things that I'm starting to understand about people just because of the things that I went through.
Thanks.
And now I don't judge. Now I'm just like, you know what? She just cursed me out. It ain't even about me.
It ain't even about me.
She don't like me. It ain't even about me. It's our own insecurities. And that's why, which is why when an apology is given, I could quickly forgive, move on like it never happened.
Yeah, I like that. It took me a long time to not take everything personal. I took everything personal at one point in my life. You looked at me the wrong way. So, but like you said, a lot of it's not even about us. Everyone, I've learned to give people space and grace, whether that's my immediate family, whether that's my friends, whether that's people I'm just meeting and passing. I try to give you your space and grace. As long as you can be respectful with it, we good.
Right. We're good. That's the key. Because if you're not respectful,
I still got ways about me that have not. Yeah.
I'm human too, so don't get disrespectful.
The disrespect
I try to walk away, but don't follow me because I don't know what to tell you.
It's something else for me. Well, listen, man, I have held you for long enough. I really want to say, thank you for opening up. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being fearless. Thank you for growing. Thank you for caring about the needs and the interests of other people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right? Because it is sometimes people think that you have to be gaining something from a particular experience or from someone in order to have value. You have value just by being present sometimes with those experiences, right? And thank you for continuing to curate those experiences for yourself. And also thank you for being open to continuing to learn those spaces within yourself. She says, when I get out of here, Tyrell, I'm going to be looking at all these damn questions you gave me.
Right.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you on the BAP community. Before you go, please tell my followers how they can find you. I'll be sure to have your social media highlighted in the comment sections when I post it as well tonight. But please tell us how they can find you, how they can find your book. And I'll be sure to tell them about the event Q4 Mastermind as well. But please tell us how we can find you on social media, website, wherever.
So on social media, it is at Queenella_Realtor. That is for just all of me, all aspects of me. Then there's at Queenella_Homes for real estate, at Queenella_Events, of course, for events. You can visit my website. It's www.queenellagibson.com to order the book, just to learn more about me as a speaker. And if you're interested in hosting events, corporate events, conferences, seminars, whatever may have you, I am hosting a masterclass October 16th. It's a 3-day masterclass, October 16th, the 18th, and the 20th from 7:30 to 8:30. No, 7 to 8:30. It may go over to 9, right? So like 7 to 9. And that they can sign up for as well if you're interested in doing what I do.
Nice. Well, I will be sure to add as many links as possible so that everyone can find out how to get to Queen on all possible platforms. But thank you for gracing us with your presence and opening up season 4, Dream Bigger, of the Black Community Podcast. And I look forward to getting this out to the people.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this.
Thank you. I'll play catch up with you later.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Keep climbing up the ladder. Black lives matter. They matter. So all you young people, give me all. 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 Matter. Black lives matter. They matter. Black lives matter.